Hello all and welcome to another Captain Entertainment video. It's Art here with a pay-per-view review, wrestling pay-per-view review for AEW All Elite Wrestling Full Gear. What a night, I'm emotionally drained, exhausted for the championship. Wow, what a pay-per-view. I'm going to be honest, it's a pay-per-view I was looking forward to immensely. It was a pay-per-view I built up all this hype around, all the greatness around, and it did not disappoint. In some ways it went too far, in some ways it delivered perfectly, and it was just amazing. Let's get right down to brass tacks and get it going here on this review. I won't always review the pre-show matches, but there was only one, so I'll throw it into the mix. That would be Priestley versus Dr. Britt Baker in a women's division contest. And what a contest it was. A brutal, bitter feud that we've seen play out over the AEW shows and AEW Dynamite here in the first 6 weeks of Dynamite. These two do not like each other. Every story in AEW Full Gear every match had a story, a clear, concise story, more than I can say for their competitor. A clear, concise, well thought out story that was told beautifully, and this match was no exception. Dr. Britt Baker got the win here with her Rings of Saturn and Mandible Claw submission finisher. And then Awesome Kong came out and did an interlude, took a piece of B. Priestley's hair, and that whole thing with Brandy, that story that's slowly being drip-fed to us, moves ever so slowly on. Full Gear itself proper started off with the Young Bucks versus Santana and Ortiz, otherwise known as Pride and Powerful. This match saw a lot of high spots, which you can tend to expect in a Young Bucks match. It saw a lot of dangerous, hard-hitting action. It saw the Midnight Express, Ricky Morton and Gibson. I think it's Bob Gibson. No, it's I can't remember his name. But the Midnight Express were in the crowd, and they would play a role after the match. But this match got the crowd lit. The crowd was jacked for this match, and I think it was the right match to start the pay-per-view off with. It truly, truly, truly was. In that respect, it was a great match in every sense of the word. And I may not go in order here because I didn't write them down, but I witnessed every match, so we'll just go. I will leave the last two as being the last two. Those two I can tell you were the last two, and I will leave them as such. The next match was Hangman Adam Page versus the Bastard Pac, whatever you want to call him. It was their rubber match, each man having a win in this 10-month feud starting in January of 2019. So it's been going on for 10 months. This match was brutal. This match saw counter after counter. It was a prelude, if there is such a thing, to be a prelude to the Lights Out match that closed the show, that we'll get to in just a few minutes. This match was amazing. This match was top-notch in this match, I think we'll see the next AEW #1 contender for the AEW Championship come out of it, as 2 and 3 fought, and Hangman Adam Page, the one in the #3 ranking, was victorious and now leads their rivalry 2 matches to 1. That might have been the blow-off match. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I would like to see it go further. I'd like to see it become a best of 7. I do love best of 7 in wrestling, and I think they're great. It was a great match, a hard-hitting match, a match that had a lot of catch-can wrestling, a lot of counters, a lot of false finishes. It was a top-notch match. The next match was for the AEW Women's Championship. It was Riho versus Emi Sakura. And what a match teacher and student told. They drilled that into our head that Emi Sakura is the teacher of Riho. Riho was 4-0 going into the match. And let me just say, the champions, I like how in AEW the champions get a gold nameplate as opposed to the white and black nameplate. They get the gold and black nameplate on their lower third when it pops up. Notice it. It did happen. I had to mention it there. Of course, Tony Schiavone was absent because of Georgia Bulldog football. He had prior obligations, so he was not there. So it was a 2-man booth, and Excalibur and Jim Ross worked in harmony. Now back to the match. I will say this. This match gave me everything in a women's match that you'd want to see. It was a true wrestling match. It used Emi Sakura's power and knowledge as opposed to Riho's youthfulness, speed, and agility. And the way it ended was a surprise finish, which is what I think it needed to be. And Riho retains, going to 5-0 in singles competition in All Elite Wrestling. But Emi Sakura, I'm sure, will get a title shot down the line. Now the next match, to my knowledge, was not promoted very much on the show, and I watched every episode of Dynamite and most of the episodes of Dark, except for this last week. So if it was on this last week's episode of Dark, then I just missed it, and there's nothing that can be done. But it was the chairman, Sean Spears, the self-proclaimed chairman, Sean Spears, versus the bad boy, Joey Janela. And I like how AEW gives their stars a chance to shine, even in a losing effort. You know, because even though records matter in AEW, it's still predetermined. It's still you can't. Not everybody can win every time out. There has to be winners and losers. That's how professional wrestling works. But man, was it a long night. And this match was, I would say, the catch your breath, take a leak kind of match of the night. It was a good match, but Sean Spears, with the help of Tully Blanchard, won the match. The Spike Pile Driver assist by Tully Blanchard was amazing. And so forth and so on. But the bad boy joined Janela Falls in this instance. Then we cut to the back and see Golden Boy interviewing Kip Sabian, and Penelope Ford comes in, and you see that they are now aligned, which is all good, I guess, in the hood there. Not much happened in the interview. That's the only thing that really happened that was good for that. The next match was your triple threat tag team championship match. The first are the second of 3 championship matches. And you're thinking, oh boy, the night's going to end early and things are going to move along very well. Sorry, I seem to be losing balance in my chair, so it's not helping. That being that, what a match this was. It was a true artisan performance of what masterful tag team wrestling should be and can be. It highlighted Private Party and increased their stock in my mind and in a lot of people's mind, because my only exposure to Private Party is AEW. I've seen SCU and I've seen the Lucha Brothers in other promotions, and their stock is predetermined and pre-established with me. This match saw high spots, it saw near falls, it saw greatness, and I just love how AEW makes tag team wrestling matter. And tag team wrestling matters when it's in AEW, and that is that. I love that SCU retains their championships but they pinned Private Party, so the Lucha Brothers can say they still haven't been pinned and still haven't, other than losing in the finals, they haven't really been beaten, and they have a bone of contention for a rematch against SCU, which, believe me, any self-respecting wrestling fan who likes tag team wrestling wants to see. Amazing, 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 amazing match. The next match was, of course, the match that sold me from the word go on Full Gear. It sold me from the get-go on Full Gear. It was the AEW Championship match. The Painmaker, Chris Jericho, the champion, Le Champion, against the American Nightmare, Cody. And with the added stipulation that if Cody didn't win, he will not challenge for the AEW Championship again. What a match. It automatically, because of that last stake that I just told you, had, what's the word I'm looking for? It had increased stakes, it had heightened drama, heightened tension from the word go. The corner man for Jericho was Jake Hager. The corner man for Cody was Maxwell Jacob Friedman, otherwise known as MJF. Going into the match, I couldn't tell you who was going to win, because I know that in January, Jericho fights at Wrestle Kingdom 14 against Hiroshi Tanahashi. And I thought, well, maybe they'll put the belt on Cody so it doesn't travel to Japan. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And so that was my thought process, that either man could win, because I could see that the TNT audience could understand who Cody was, having seen him on the major promotion in the States, and also seeing Jericho on every promotion in the States at one point in time. So going into it, and boy did they tell a story. I don't know if Cody getting blood on the Tope Suicina on the ramp was meant to happen, but it happened, and I think it may have shortened the match. He also hit his rib pretty hard. He may have broken his rib. It was a great match. You saw Crossroads. You saw outside interference that caused Jake Hager to be thrown out. You saw the walls of Jericho. You saw you didn't see the juice effect because it was blocked. You saw a lot of things that made it really, really, really amazing. In the end, though, while in the walls of Jericho, MJF throws him in the towel, causing Cody to lose the match while not tapping out. And then, of course, after the match, MJF low blows Cody, furthering that now storyline. At some point, very, very soon, we're going to see MJF versus Cody. I still want to see Cody fight for the championship and become the champion. But there's ways in wrestling they can do that. He can win a title shot by winning a battle royal. He can be challenged by the champion. So there's plenty of ways for them to work around that little stipulation. Don't know if they will, but if they want to, there's plenty of ways to do it. This match, I think, was too short. While the last match of the night, the Lights Out match against pitting Kenny Omega against Jon Moxley, was, in my opinion, a bit too long and a bit too brutal. How do I put this? For the hardcore styling match that it was a decent match. It went too long. It was a bit too brutal in my opinion, but the finish was what you would expect from a lights out hardcore match. It was good for that. However, that being said, and that coin being thrown out there first, I would say that I would have liked to seen this feud go on longer before it got to this point, so we had more of a story and more of a build to understand why this had to happen. I'm not saying there was no build. There was certainly build, but I don't think there was enough of a build to cause this much of a mega blow-up match. I would have rather liked to seen this be the blow-up match for Cody and Jericho, because you can play on their history of being in the same locker room in WWE for years. You know, you can play on that and show that it actually has more build than the 6 weeks that they built it. I understand that this was supposed to take place at All Out because of Moxley's MRSA infection. It was not able to be done, but it should have I think it went on too long, and it made the more impactful stuff they did not mean very much. You know, you only knew it was going to end because the time was starting to go a little bit long, and they had to get out of there for pay-per-view reasons. But as far as, like, I can't say that it was bad in a sense. It was a good hardcore match if you like hardcore matches, and I do with reason. I just don't think they told me a good enough story to give me that level of a match. And that long of a match. Because honestly, if they were to go that far out, it should have been a much shorter match. Also, the lights didn't go all the way out like they said they were going to either. Oh, a side note before I give the grade for the pay-per-view is the Full Gear set was amazing, I thought. I thought it was a nice, cool, fun set. I would like to see sets at every AEW pay-per-view, like, just because I'd like to see their Dynamite set be their Dynamite set. and pay-per-view sets be different so that your eyes have something different and more aesthetically pleasing to look at. That being said, I was highly hyped for this pay-per-view, and this pay-per-view did not disappoint. I am literally worn out. I can't believe I'm filming for as long as I've been filming, because I'm literally worn out from all this pay-per-view action. It was a great pay-per-view. I give it an A. Could have gotten an A+, but I have to give it a minus for the length of the Moxley Omega Lights Out match. Why was there a referee in there at all? It should have just been... Like, why is a referee in there at all? It should have just been a knockout count, a 10 count, or the man can't get to his feet kind of thing. Like, why is there a referee in there at all? And JR even brought that up. Like, as many mistakes as the commentary team make, because you can trip over your own tongue. Lord knows I trip over my own tongue in some of the videos. Stuff happens. Many points tonight. Excalibur and JR were on point, and JR is literally the greatest professional wrestling announcer of our time. So once again, Full Gear gets an A. It would have gotten an A+, but the length of the Lights Out match takes some tarnish off of that. So, by the way, happy late birthday to my boy Okada, wearing his shirt. His birthday was on Friday, the day before Full Gear. It was on the 8th. Filming this on the 9th, so happy birthday to my boy, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. And on Wednesday, you will see my first Wednesday Wrestle Warzone review, as I review both WWE programming for the month of October and AEW Dynamite for the month of October, leading into Full Gear. That is that. And so without further ado, you know I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. Please ding the notification bell to be notified when I upload a video if YouTube is working that day, because we all know YouTube sometimes doesn't like to work. But without further ado, from bell to bell, from pillar to post, I can't wait for the next AEW pay-per-view, and maybe Nate the Wrestling Dude will be with me, maybe not. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed watching it by myself. I love watching my boy, but I enjoyed watching it by myself as well. So without further ado, happy watching, everybody. I'll see you on the next wrestling show. From bell to bell, pillar to post. Peace.